Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm so happy you're here. And I'm happy even if you're watching this on the replay, I'm happy you're here, that you're part of my community because you make it possible for me to be here and be able to do the things I'm doing. So yeah, I love you guys. Something's going on. Sorry. There we go. Let me stop this. Yes. Okay, I'm back. Yay, I made it. Whew. All right, I was trying to stop the YouTube from speaking out loud. There we go. Now the YouTube's not speaking out loud. I'm so happy. Whew. And I'm here. So, we're talking about today new beginnings and letting go of the old stories that no longer serve you. And it's an important topic, right? Like, I know I've talked about this before, but it's an important topic because as we evolve, how our triggers and old stories come at us also evolves. And so you can think you've totally gotten rid of something and it comes back around a different way. But I'm excited to talk about this because new beginnings are a part of life itself. It's a part of how we move through things, right? So if you look at um, the seasons, right? Every year we have a spring, and when you look at what's happening with spring, new buds are coming up, new baby animals, new everything is coming up new because it's a period of renewal, and we all need that, whether it's around our birthday or whether it's around spring. That renewal matters, and one of the important things to be doing in your life during that renewal period is letting go of the things that no longer serve you. And that includes the old stories, right? Because, you know, we're creating that. We are those stories, and I'm just gonna go back a little bit, right? We create these stories about ourselves and we create a narrative that defines our world and who we are and what we can do and what we can't do, right? We we have these stories we tell ourselves, and it's important because we're shaping our mindset every single day. And so we have these stories that we tell ourselves, and we can create new stories to tell ourselves, right? But these stories shape who we are and how we see the world and how we function in it. And so if you believe, like, for example, if you believe you're a really messy person and that's the story you're saying all the time, you're always saying you're messy, then people don't expect you to not be messy, right? So you don't have to worry about cleaning up or anything like that. Those kinds of things where you're always showing who you are by the stories that you talk and say and think about. So it's a benefit to us, right? We say these stories and we're not just saying them for the heck of them. We're saying them because they serve a purpose. They help us out. They make it okay for whatever it is we're doing. We have the reason why we do it. And they protect us, right? There's something we're gaining from the story. You're never just saying it to be saying it. So there's something to think about. Like, what are you gaining from the story that you're telling yourself? because you're telling yourself for a reason. There's always something you're getting out of the story that you're sharing with yourself and with others. It's like you're getting some benefit. And we all have to work on that narrative at some point to let go of the old stories and to change what's happening. So we're always continually working on our narrative because it helps us get to something else, something better. And so one of the things we have to look at is, what are we getting from the narrative that we're creating? What are we getting from the story? Because one of the first steps in letting go of a story that isn't serving you is understanding why you have it in the first place, why you came up with it, and why you're keeping it around, why you're holding on to it when you know it's not going to help you. I used to tell myself for a long time, I told myself I was painfully shy. Let me hide it. Let me hide. And it gave people an acceptable reason why I was hiding. And it didn't make me have to deal with other people or put myself out into the world because I needed to be invisible, right? That was the reason I was telling myself the story, because I was protecting myself by being invisible. And so that was my story. And so coming up and saying I was painfully shy was a good excuse. It worked for me and it kept me safe. But when I decided to come out of my shell, when I decided to break that shell from inside and be who I was and share myself and be out in the world, then I had to let that story go, right? I couldn't keep saying I was painfully shy. And at one point, because I did the work to change my mindset, at one point I was talking to someone and I was sharing this story, and he said he was shy, and I was ready to go into my story about how painfully shy I was. And right in the middle of it, right in the middle of the story, I realized that was a lie, right? I wasn't painfully shy. I was, I used to be really shy. Like I really was painfully shy at one point, but now I talk to people. I talk to individuals. I talk to groups. I talk to friends. I talk on these Facebook Lives. I talk on stages in person. And that's not shy. So I am an introvert. It does take a lot of energy for me to be out in the world, but I'm not painfully shy. An introvert and painfully shy are two different things. So I had to start letting go of the story of being painfully shy because it wasn't who I was anymore, right? It changed what the story was because that wasn't the story helping me anymore. And so I had to let go of it. And I had to realize it. And then I had to change the story because now it wasn't the truth. It was just something that I had been saying for so long. I had forgotten why. It had become a habit. And so it was no longer serving me. And I had to let it go. And that's something you can do. You have stories like that. And the other part to realize, sometimes we think when we're building our visibility, we think we can do a thing once and then it's fixed, right? We can do this thing once and it's fixed and we don't have to come back to it anymore. We don't have to keep working at that thing. And yet that's not true either. Because the truth is, we're always growing. We're always expanding and stepping into larger and larger rooms. and looking at who we are and seeing ourselves differently. And sometimes the story that we've been telling ourselves, sometimes what we're sharing is a different, how it comes out, how it hits us is different. So we can think that we've conquered the story, that we no longer have to deal with the story because we fixed that, right? We were already past that story. But as we step into larger rooms, it can hit us very differently. It can hit us in a way that we weren't expecting. And sometimes it can catch you totally off guard. And sometimes you can go, wow, this was a different way this came at me. And I think I better check out. I need to re-examine this story now and go a little deeper. Because sometimes it requires deeper introspection, because it's coming at you a way that you would have never had it come at you later because you could handle it. And so you never would have expected it. It just changed up on you and it hit you in a different way. And now you have to go back and re-release that story. And that's important to know because that's why we have to always be willing to look at new beginnings and new letting go of stories that no longer serve us so that we get to the part where we can grow. Because becoming visible, changing your life, that's a lifelong journey. You can look at people like thank you, Fran. You can look at people like Oprah and like Michelle Obama, like pretty much any person that's living their life in the limelight. And you're going to see them at points struggling with things where you're going, why are they struggling with this? Why is this an issue? And it's because now something's coming back at them that they thought they had dealt with because they dealt with it on this level. But now it's coming up on this level and it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different way of smashing things in. So one of the things is to always know that your stories are your stories and you have to do the work to change them. And you have to do the work to let them go. And sometimes you have to do the work more than once. But it always starts with, how is this story helping me? What was the benefit that I used to get from this story? And then change it. If it's not giving you that benefit, you can let it go. And you can move on. Because new beginnings are wonderful. Even the whole universe does new beginnings. It's springtime. I'm hearing the geese coming back home. And soon the leaves will be budding. And new life will be all around you. And in some places, spring has sprung. And in your life, you can let spring come too. You can let go of the old and make room for the new to create the life and the business and the opportunities that you want for yourself. All right. I hope you guys got something good out of this message. I'm really happy to have been here with you and to be able to have had this time with you. And I love you guys. If you're watching it on the replay, yay. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it somewhere else, I'm so glad you were here. And I hope to talk to you soon. Love you all. Bye.